Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Tuesday night, December 17th, 2019. Let's take a look at our space weather conditions. Our solar wind speeds coming in at 361.6 kilometers per second with a density of 22.1. A pretty thick solar stream there. Once again, no sunspots to report. 34 days in a row now without sunspots. We are sitting at 271 days without sunspots in 2019. The TCI has also remained unchanged at 3.22. KP indices coming in at a 0, and the 24-hour max is at a 1. And we are looking at the possibility for our next solar wind stream on December 18th to the 19th, where Corona Hole was Earth facing not too long ago, and has the solar wind stream is definitely going to be here by the 18th and 19th. Oh boy. Hang on a second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to compose myself here. All right, let's move right along here to thegrandsolarminimum.com. Actually, that's our TSI. We'll look at that here in a second. But we don't have any corona holes, nothing major anyway, in the near future. We don't have...
Way to be weird, Jake.
Well, hold on a second, folks. I'm going to put you on a brief pause here.
No, you've interrupted enough.
Hold on a second. All right, so let's move on with the show. Sorry about that, folks. But as you can see, the sun is going to be quiet. No large corona holes, no visuals of any kind of active regions to worry about as far as to look forward to in a sunspot. Very, very quiet conditions here right now, folks. So those of you who picked no more sunspots in 2019, wow, that's a good call. I didn't see it coming. So unless we get some kind of rogue sunspot activity within the near future, definitely is not looking like we are going to be experiencing any kind of sunspot activity. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some headlines. First, this is probably the top story. Now, we touched base on this morning. The reports are now 37 tornado reports from the National Weather Service. Severe storms triggered more than 24 tornadoes in parts of the Deep South on Monday, December 16th, killing at least 3 people in Louisiana and Alabama, while leaving a trail of destruction mostly in Mississippi, according to the National Weather Service. It says here that deadly tornadoes also left several people injured in different states, as well as damaged homes and churches. Power outages exceeded 3,000 in Mississippi and over 10,000 in Louisiana. Talks about a couple of fatalities here. There's some video and pictures of this tornado. Pretty impressive tornado. 7-year-old boy was also found at the scene. However, officials did not confirm if he was related to the couple that was killed in the tornado. The boy was taken to the hospital for treatment. A lot of folks were shocked here. At least 3 others were injured, but authorities have yet to disclose the severity of the injuries. And lots of video coming in, guys. And this looks like, to me, just based on this damage here, this has to be an F2, F3, somewhere in that area right there. I mean, just the way, toothpicks. These are houses completely toppled. So this kind of destruction here that's pretty strong tornado here for this time of year. We're talking about just the other day overseas. Forgive my memory here. I can't remember exactly where, but we had an altitude of over 13,000 feet, a tornado, the highest ever. And then now we have this outbreak, and that's what this is. This is an outbreak. This is Alexandria, Louisiana. Again, this is F1, F2-ish, just by looking at the damage. Take a look at some more. This is in Mississippi, Columbia, Mississippi. My goodness, look how big this thing is. At this point, I'd be turning around and heading back to wherever at this point. More footage from Alexandria, Louisiana. Prior to the fatal storms, National Weather Service issued a tornado emergency for the highest criteria for a tornado warning. Authorities can then confirm a massive tornado near Alexandria International Airport. The police reported several damages in structures, but no one was harmed or injured. I want to thank the watchers for their continuous coverage and hard work on these worldwide extreme weather events. Lots of damage reported all through the South. December tornadoes are not unusual in the USA. On December 16, 2000, southeastern tornado outbreak killed 11 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. On December 1st, 2018, storm spawned over 2 dozens of twisters in the Midwest. This is pretty intense. And we have seen an increase of tornadoes this year in strength too. That's one thing that we have seen this year in 2019. Stronger tornadoes. Just tons of footage here. Pictures from all over down south from this tornado damage. All right, let's go and kind of recap this earthquake that we briefly talked about at Mindanao. And a 6.9 earthquake, 700 aftershocks. 14,000 homes have been either damaged or destroyed. 9 people killed and 99 injured. This was on December 15th, 2019. A total of 108,000 people were affected across this region here on Tuesday, December 17th. This is according to this report. The quake killed 9 people in regions 6, 7, 99 were injured, and 1 person remains missing. The search, rescue, retrieval operations were jointly undertaken by the municipal government of Padata, the Philippine National Police Regional Office, and Davao region. Sounds like we have a video still playing here. Yeah, sorry about that. All right. So a total of 14,000 homes were damaged in the municipalities of Hagonoy, Matano, Padata, Davao, and Region 6, of which 2,760 were totally destroyed and over 11,000 were partially destroyed. 45 public structures were damaged in Regions 6 and 7, which 9 totally, 36 partially. In addition, 20 schools were partially damaged, 18 health facilities, and 31 other structures. Let's check out. This is damage footage here from after the earthquake. Folks, 700 aftershocks. These people are shook right now, and no pun intended on this. They're also warning of possible landslides, rockfalls, and other types of mass movement on hilly areas. Liquefaction may also affect low-lying water, saturated and sandy areas near the shorelines and riverbanks. Well, these are okay to show. I don't see any not for rebroadcast banners here. Again, only 9 killed out of 99 that were injured. 1 remains missing for 6.9. Lots of damage reported throughout the area. 700 aftershocks. Here's some more pictures of houses crumbling down. This happened back in also Mindanao was shaken by several earthquakes in the past months. A strong shallow 5.9 on November 18th, a 6.5 on October 31st, a 6.3 also October 16th, where at least 21 people died and 20,000 buildings were left in ruin. So this area has definitely seen an uptick in earthquake activity over the last several months. 18 fatalities formally identified following White Island volcano eruption in New Zealand. So I wasn't really going to mention this because we've already kind of done a follow-up. This is the second follow-up that we've done on this story. And I can tell you right now that tragic, thankful that the numbers were low, but unfortunate for these 47 people who were on the island during the volcano eruption. A lot of people felt like there was no reason why anyone should have been on this volcanic island. But this article really talks about the medical part of this, the patients that are recovering from their injuries from this explosion. 5 are still in critical condition. There's still 20 hospitalized. But they were talking about the skin, the grafting process, and that tells me that there is a lot of burn victims here. And the other sad part is that many of them, even though they're not in critical condition, many of them have not even come back to yet. They've been unconscious since the eruption. And just reading through this, these injuries are pretty serious. They list the names of the people who passed during this. There was a few people here from the United States, unfortunately, a couple of teenagers, and it looks like their mother, and of course their father. And so this is just tragic, heartbreaking. These people probably shouldn't even been here in the first place. There's a few other people that are missing, but they are not doing any recover search parties tonight due to the weather. Surgeon prompted orders of millions of dollars worth of cadaver skin from the U.S. and Australia to meet demand. However, the cadaver skin is only temporary because it's not matched to the patient. The same way you couldn't do an organ donation to someone who wasn't matched to you. You can't put someone else's skin on and leave it on forever. This is according to the doctor. In the burn situation, we use the cadaver skin almost as a biological dressing, and it usually will stay in place for up to 2 weeks. It keeps that area dressed and healthy if we need to replace it with fresh cadaver skin, or if they've got areas on burnt skin that haven't healed, we can harvest the skin from that again and do some more grafting. So to talk about this grafting process tells me there's a lot of burn patients here, a lot of deep burns as well. So hopefully we get some speedy recoveries for some of these folks, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be a quick one for most of these, especially the 5 that are still in critical condition, and to the ones who aren't even conscious at this time. Again, our thoughts and prayers are with these folks, and we hope for their speedy recovery soon. And I want to thank Mr. David Birch for passing on a link about some of the snow reports here for skiing. If you're looking to go to Europe this year, this is your go-to website. onthesnow.co.uk is the website here, and it gives us a huge selection of video evidence of the snow, what mountain, what we're talking about, the coverage. I mean, just tons of snow for the skiers. So don't worry about anyone saying there's a shortage of snow, because that is not the case, especially if you want to go skiing in Europe. That doesn't look like a shortage to me, folks. This is for the Alps and other parts of Europe as well. But tons of footage here, tons of pictures, and also just a full report of some of the stats here as well. Down at the bottom, they have forecast for snowfall, 9-day forecast. I just found this to be, interesting to look at, for the one fact that there's tons of snow out there after so many folks around the world, like Greta and others, who are trying to tell you that we're going to see less snow in the future because of global warming. But yeah, no. Not even officially winter yet, folks. And before I go into our U.S. weather report here, I wanted to pass something along to you folks. My son, who is a 11-year-old 6th grade student in upstate New York here, and as a parent in the science class, you worry about when your kids come home from school and they start asking questions about climate and CO2. My son brought me his test on climate refuge. Who is a climate refugee? Climate refugees are people who must leave their homes because of climate change and global warming. Climate change is caused by natural events like volcanic eruptions. Well, at least they told the truth there. Humans also create climate change. Climate change has happened many times since Earth was formed. Global warming is the most recent period of climate change. Burning fossil fuels like coal and oil and cutting down forests contribute to global warming. They release greenhouse gases which trap heat in the atmosphere. Rising temperatures cause glaciers and polar ice caps to melt. They can cause flooding and make sea levels rise. Rising temperatures also lead to droughts and desertification. Desertification is when farmland becomes a desert. Some of these effects, such as rising sea level, can put land completely underwater. Other effects like drought make it impossible for people to support themselves. Drought. I don't think there's any concern of drought here in the lower 48, but let's continue to read. The International Red Cross estimates there are more environmental refugees than political refugees in the world right now. Environmental refugees are forced to leave their homes because of natural disasters such as volcanoes and hurricanes. Well, if that's the case, then we only have one set of people for hurricanes, and that was Dorian. Volcanoes, sure. We've had plenty of those. Weird. What the facts that they're wanting to pick here. Political refugees flee wars and other conflicts in the United Nations High Commissioner of Refugees. It says there's 36 million environmental refugees in 2009. Scientists will predict this number will rise at least 50 million by 2050. Some say it could be as high as 200 million. And ironically, these numbers could be correct, but not for global warming. Sea level rise. The IPCC predicts that sea level rise will rise from 0.18 to 0.6 meters between 1990 and 2100. That is equal to the height of 7 inches to 2 feet rising sea levels that have already caused problems. So 7 inches over the next, 80 years? To 2 feet. This is what they're teaching our kids in school. Venice. And this was something that Venice, Italy is also threatened by sea level rise. Venice is a historic city built on a series of islands on the coast of the Adriatic Sea. In the past century, flooding has become more frequent. In 1900, main city's plaza was underwater several times. In 1996, it flooded 99 times. Mari, do you know what was going on in 1996? How did you know? Okay.
You know.
I mean, and I had a professional ask me the same thing about man-made global warming, and they were asking about what about Venice? Why is Venice flooded? Well, it happens because of,
This is not science or history. What they're brainwashing children in these school districts now is political science.
So
that is heavily one-sided. In
the entire paper here, and then there's a quiz based on this. There is not one temperature chart. There's nothing in here that's science related. These are just stated facts or claims, I should say, without proof or evidence. So here's the test. Which sentence from the article would be the most important to include in a summary of the article? And the answer, I'll read you the answers. Let's all take the quiz together. Climate refugees are people who must leave their homes because of climate change and global warming. Burning fossil fuels like coal and oil and cutting down forests contribute to global warming. The increased amount of freshwater threatens coral reefs and surround the islands as well as the fish that live in it. Or D, residents near the Horn of Africa are especially threatened by drought and desertification. And the answer is A. Climate refugees are people who must leave their homes because of climate change or global warming. Read the following details from the article. In 1900, the city's main plaza was underwater 7 times. In 1996, it was flooded 99 times. How does this detail develop the central ideal of the article? Again, this is a quiz about the thinking and the body of this article. This has nothing to do about the education of science or climate change. And listen to this. Here's the answers that you could pick. You could pick A, by introducing the idea that the city's main plaza should be raised. B, by emphasizing a drastic change resulting from sea level rise. C, by illustrating how the city's main plaza changed in 100 years. And D, by elaborating on reasons why fewer tourists are visiting. So what they're saying is that emphasizing the drastic change in resulting from sea level rise is why Venice is flooding right now. That's the answer, B. Not because of cosmic ray influx and heavy rain events that lead to flooding. It's sea level rise. Look, if it was sea level rise, Venice would still be underwater. Is Venice still underwater right now? Have we checked?
I mean, Venice is always going to have its boats,
but I mean, is the plaza still flooded?
I haven't checked the flood positions. They were dealing with some
sea
flooding,
level rise.
but it wasn't anything to do with the sea level. It had to do with the precipitation. So, the quiz is a joke. So I was really proud of him for getting 100% on it and spitting out what he's supposed to, but I am happy. On the other hand, he knows that it's BS.
Yeah, I'm going to stop reading it because, I mean, really, there's nothing left to show you about this test. Basically, that this is nothing but brainwashing, indoctrinated information that has nothing to do with real science. It's just a bunch of claims. They're stating real weather events that are happening around the world and blaming it on global warming. And to me, as a reporter on this topic and a broadcaster, and what I've learned, I'm an enthusiast for solar cycles and natural climate change. And I think this stuff here is, I mean, what are they teaching these kids? They're not teaching them anything. They're just making them regurgitate talking points to help. That's it.
Political propaganda.
It's terrible.
That is not proof our schools are, weaponized for a political agenda. I don't know what could get through to people.
Well,
I mean, it's like so in your face.
I mean, right now my only beef with schools is preaching about climate change like this. I would like for them to, keep the sex ed talk out of the elementary schools. Wait until junior high, and I'd like for them to stop talking about climate change because neither topic they know what they're talking about, honestly. So, but anyway, I wanted to read that out to you guys just to let you know that's a real. He got 100. He followed his old man's advice. I told him do everything that is opposite of me when it comes to climate, because the consensus, or I should say the brainwashed out there, are only recognizing one set of facts. But the problem with that too, like I said, there's no data that supports this. There's no data that proves that man's causing this. Yet on this channel, we show you guys data that proves that the sun is causing this, not man. Anyway. All right, let's move on here before we get to our weather outlook for the weeks to come. Lake effect snow, bitter cold to filter into the Great Lakes at midweek. That's tomorrow. It starts up tonight here for Buffalo, Toronto, already underway. Detroit, parts of Cleveland, Erie, PA, you guys will start to see snow showers off and on tonight. And more cold air is flowing in from the Arctic, and I'll show you more about that here in a minute. This is what we can expect for Wednesday night as well. Now, they're calling for whiteout conditions possible for upstate New York and Syracuse, Utica. You guys definitely could have persistent snow showers and squalls. An additional 2 to 4 inches is not out of the books. Here in the capital region, maybe 1 to 3 inches. Parts of Vermont also could see heavy amounts. And southern part of Maine right now looks like to be the heaviest recipient of the snow for into Wednesday night. But then we get a cold blast. Look at that. Real field temperatures 0 to 10 degrees. That lighter purple, like Buffalo, it's going to feel like negative 10 to 0 outside. Parts of Erie and near Cleveland, same thing out there for you guys. Minneapolis definitely will feel the bite. And then if you live up north in the Canada, just beyond freezing at that point. Negative 20, negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit, that is. So lots of cold air building up, and then this is Thursday morning. We'll all wake up, and look at that. This is real feel. Now, this is not what the actual temperature is going to be, but real feel, if you live in the upstate New York area, Vermont, New Hampshire, parts of Maine, and Montreal, you guys are going to wake up to negative 20 to negative 10 degrees real feel. I mean, that's pretty cold, and we're not officially at winter just yet. This will be on the 18th. Just 3 days away before we see the official season of winter kicking in. And let's go ahead and take a look at our current radar system right now. Pretty exciting stuff up here in the Northeast today. I can tell you this. I drove in it this morning and this evening, and the snow is winding down here in New York. That lake effect beginning now in the western New York. Parts of Detroit's getting ready to see some snow. Let's put this bad boy in motion, actually. And that severe weather storm, Jacksonville, just now got through the severe, or not severe, but thunderstorms from that system is now moving away from the United States out to sea. The snow today was light, but it was still pesky, I can tell you that. And other than that, guys, I mean, Northwest, you're starting to see the invasion of moisture that will be affecting that region. And I'll get into that too as we get into our extended look at our forecast. Again, here's our watches and warnings. I'll refresh it just to see how up to date we are and just to show you guys. Yeah, that's it. So nothing really happening for the rest of the night. Some lake effect stuff. Buffalo, South Towns, you guys are looking at lake effect snows. But other than that, really nothing too gnarly to really report on for the weather. Even Alaska, things quieting down as well. Gale warnings all over Hawaii, it looks like, as well. But other than that, pretty quiet, and thankfully so after what we've seen over the last few days. All right, so let's get a look at what GFS is thinking tonight. And guys, this changes every day. So really, going out a week, more than a week, is almost useless. But we see that light snow moving through lake effect mainly on Wednesday. And I want you guys to shift your focus out here to the Northwest, Oregon and Washington, and BC as well. And we have just a huge amount of moisture moving into that region starting December 19th into the 20th, staying in place, just being fed. Here's the 21st. More moisture to the region as this low pressure system winds up into Northern California, and then a secondary system behind it shoots down the coast and affects the Southwest. And then on Christmas, another system evades the Northwest again. It's shooting down the coast of California into parts of Mexico, back into the Southwest, rotating back into the main states. And again, another shot of weather coming in from the Northwest. And just wave after wave of this. So lots of storminess to come to the West Coast to watch. And for the most part, it doesn't really affect our storms on the rest of the United States until right about here. This system right here that is shooting down the west coast of California is going to become our next major weather system. And this is the day after Christmas. Now, this could change tomorrow. That's what I'm saying. This is really pointless, but this is an idea that the GFS has. That we'll see that low pressure system meet up with another low pressure system that's being churned out in the Atlantic by a high pressure system. And then it catches on and rotates out into the Midwest, Kansas, Iowa, Wisconsin. This will be a snow event for you, but on the other side of this is going to be heavy rain up the Mississippi and into the Ohio Valley, into the Ohio River Valley as well. And then New York, flooding rains possible. They're going to be dealing with snow melt. The temperatures will be above freezing at this time, so we could see snow melt and heavy rain mixing in, and lots of rain to fall in the Northeast. And in a way, this could be a good thing as well. If this was snow, this would be a pretty powerful, probably foot or more type of storm system. But as this thing rolls out of here, it's dragging in some pretty cold Arctic air, and that will bring snow for New Year's Eve, possibly on New Year's Day as well for the Northeast as our next Arctic front. Doesn't look like it's going to happen until January 1st. So this last little hoorah here in the Northeast today and tomorrow, it might be the last that we see, except some occasional flurries. And as far as the rest of the country goes, well, it doesn't really appear as if we're going to have a lot of snowstorms heading this way. I mean, this is through the 21st. Montana, maybe Idaho and Utah, you'll see some snow for Christmas. Mainly going to stay on the Four Corners on Christmas Day, and then the day after Christmas, we start to see a major system develop. Again, bringing snow to the upper Great Lakes, and the backside of it will bring it to the East Coast and the Northeast. And then possibly by New Year's Day and later, we could see some more snow and more cold. Now, I want to show you this in motion. Let's start this over, actually. So you'll see how, pay attention to the pink, how this expands. This is going through December 21st. It just gets brighter, and more of it is being fed from here. Watch it funnel in. This is at the end of January. This is at the beginning of January right here, okay? But if you notice, this up here in this part here over Russia, Eurasia, this builds up and gets real cold here, and then that starts to funnel down through Canada. But look, you can see it right here at this point. It's starting to feed that Arctic air and spread it across the north and Canada, and that stuff is just continuing to get bigger and bigger as far as how much cold we're actually going to see. So by January 2nd, the Arctic will be pretty cold as expected. And Judah Cohen is also talking about some early January Arctic blast on the way. This could only be just the beginning of what's to come this winter. If the cold's already building like this early, again, hold on to your hats, folks, because we haven't seen nothing yet. Mari, how are you?
I'm good, Jake. They want us to sing.
Well, Christmas album, we'll pop out a few, but not right now.
I'm just saying they're really rooting you because I said, well, Jake's a way better singer than I am. They're like, well, get Jake to sing.
Well, we'll get some. I do want to record a few Christmas songs this year.
Mr. Morgan Cowell, he really wants me to sing "You're a Mean One," Greta Grinch.
I've seen the lyrics. He's been baiting you for that for a while now. So
and I'm wondering. I think. Well, wait, where are the lyrics?
We'll have to write those still, it looks like.
Okay, I'm fine with writing lyrics.
Well, you're good at it. You did a good job on the Nancy
A lot of
Pelosi
people
thingy.
got a little butthurt about that, but
yeah, well.
it's
Oh well. What do you do?
I don't like getting butthurt. I just want people to have a laugh, Comedy these days, it's so hard.
Lighten up.
I do have some things to say.
There's Thor. Where in the heck have you been, sir?
It's good seeing him.
It is good seeing him.
I would like to thank Matt Bros for his super chat encouraging people to contribute to our internet connection. He said, freedom is not free, neither is internet connection. And he gave us a super chat.
Well, thank you, Matt.
And Cheryl and Daniel followed suit. So thank you all. That was very nice. And then I wrote down what you were saying with the quiz. I actually already said that. The political science versus actual science.
Right.
You know, political history versus actual history. I think if your kids are in, it's easy to say, well, homeschool your kids. Well, it's not so easy for people to do that. As a parent, if you have a child in public school, it's some people that's their only option, most that's the only option. It's your part to step into your child's education as well and not rely on the school district with what they're learning. You don't be afraid to have a conversation with your child about these topics and give them another perspective and rationale, but also caution them that other ways of thinking aren't necessarily how the system wants them. Unfortunately, we are in Orwellian times, living very complex societal issues at our fingertips. Jesse said, Venice, it dropped due to pumping out of the ground underneath of it. Dropped over a foot from the pumping. So, infrastructure. And that's all I got, note-wise.
All right.
Jake,
I
had a wonderful birthday, by the way.
Yeah.
I know, because I like cutting you off.
It's all right.
Just like you do that to me.
Yeah.
I had a wonderful birthday, and I want to thank everyone who wished me happy birthday. I have not. I did for my treat for my birthday. I just totally cut myself offline, and it was so good. I mean, just being cut off from it all.
We all kind of did. It was nice.
It was a relaxing, stressless.
And let's go out on a goofy note tonight, folks. Look at the sun on your screen, and I've changed my mind, Mari. That's Donald Trump.
It looks like George Bush.
So
he's giggling like a schoolgirl in the beginning of the show to the point where he has to mute the mic. And I'm not in the room, and he was talking about solar wind, so I thought he farted and was laughing, but
no.
It is because he's seeing things in the sun.
I'm not. Look,
that make him giggle
stop,
hysterically.
Stop. Look, there is the mouth. Okay, it's blowing the solar wind, hot air. That could be Trump. That could be Bush. But it's ironic to me. There's two eyes and a nose, and then a hole where the solar wind or hot air, whatever you want to.
You saw that and just.
Do you see the hairline right there?
You were just like.
Tell me you
get
see.
your arrow.
Put your glasses on. I don't have an arrow on this.
You don't have an arrow.
You have to look. There's the hairline.
Our audience can't see that. What you're pointing at, Jake?
I bet you they could. I bet you they could.
It's okay. Everyone, let us know what you think in the comments about Jake's crazy-ass intro outburst towards the... What is
somebody in the chat has to see it, and no one's saying anything.
See, you know who would say something if they were in the chat?
Who?
Ronson. Matt Ronson.
Where is Magic Ronson?
Yeah, I don't know where Magic Ronson is.
Looks like Nancy Pelosi. It could. It could. I mean, if you stand back, look a little for. I'm telling you guys, it's either Trump. Mari thinks it could be a Bush.
Now it looks like Danny DeVito as the Penguin or something, whatever.
Actually, now it looks like Freddy from Scooby Doo.
Okay.
So
now you're starting bad habits with our viewers. We're just going to
nobody
look at
sees
the sun
it
and be like,
Doug says he doesn't see it.
It's a NASA psyop, and.
Can't see a thing. I'll turn. No one can see it. All right, guys. I'm sorry.
Thumbs up if you think Jake's crazy.
Tata says, "I see Morgan Freeman." Well, that's the spirit, Sonny boy. He does see. It could be a Morgan.
I don't know about that.
I still say Donald Trump.
There's the man on the moon, and what do you call this?
Looks like a camel and a pack of smoke. It could be. Okay, I see the humps. All right.
Oh, God.
Don't say Bush without first name. Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, listen.
Enough fun.
Yeah, that's enough from us. We'll let you get off here. Thank you for tuning into the Grand Solar Minimum channel. We will definitely see you guys in the morning.
Oh, and it could be that serious orange, or what's that?
A quick
orange
little.
It has the face.
You got to put your glasses on. You'll see it. Trust me.
I'm blind.
All right, guys. That's gonna do it for us. He says, Doug says he sees something else if he turns it sideways. But, oh boy, here we go. Now we're starting to see it. Everyone's starting to see things. All right, let's get out of here. Guys, thank you for tuning into the Grand Solar Minimum channel. We'll see you in the morning and again, possibly tomorrow night as well for another live.
It's Uncle Fester.
GrandSolarMinimum.com.
Like.
All right, totally. Thank you very much, folks. All right, we'll talk soon. Take care. Okay.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.